And then there were 4. A 1 seed and a 2 seed. And a 2 seed and a 1 seed. Let's get into the games. Roll the brand new intro, folks.
If you got Jack in your cup, go raise it up, go raise it up, go raise it up. If you ain't got enough, go fill it up, go fill it up.
May I remind everyone that day was about a 40-degree temperature, or a little under, maybe a little, bouncing around somewhere between 35 and 45 for that day. But nonetheless, that's who I am, and there are multiple takes. And as for the Hollywood Undead song, well, I wanted to use a different song, but for whatever reason the iTunes on here wasn't looking, and I haven't really used iTunes on the Windows video maker thingy. And I'm like, screw it, this song looks good and actually fits in with the timing I have set up. So I'm going to say, screw it, that's the song. Hopefully YouTube doesn't copy strike me for it. Oh well. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Conference Championship games, or the title games, whatever we prefer to call them, of the 2018 NFL season. I'm your host, Cody P. Also known as the TBCC. There's a hair on my tongue that's bothering the hell out of me, but we're going to roll along as if that doesn't even matter. Alright, last week, straight up I went 4-0, because, I mean, not that the NFL is predictable, but for the most part, they're a 1 and 2 seed for a reason. Because these teams are better. That or they have an easier schedule. I don't know, you tell me. But nonetheless, they are better. And that's why they have home field. Especially because they're good at home. I mean, it's very, very rare, I would assume, that a team can like finish 8-8 with 8 wins all at home and all 8 road games or losses. But chances are, if you're a home team and you secured a bye week, chances are you're going to win. Well, about being the better team at the right time. But against the spread, I went abysmal 1-3. I'm an idiot and thought every game was going to be close. And turns out not every game was close. For those who didn't watch the last video, I took all the dogs. So, it came in the end with the Eagles keeping their game relatively close. And by relatively close, I mean they jumped up to an early lead. And then the Saints, who were rusty as all hell, did enough to overcome them and win the game. My ass got saved by Will Lutz missing that field goal. Otherwise, chances are I probably don't get that. So, thank you, Will Lutz? I don't know. And then my totals, 0-4. Maybe you should not listen to me when I say with my totals. So at the end, with these playoffs right now, I am 5-3 straight up, 3-4-1 against the spread, and a 2-6 in totals. So, again, Cody doesn't know anything about spread picks and totals. But he knows games. He does know games. And probably would have picked the Chargers to beat the Ravens if he wasn't a Ravens fan. But nonetheless, here we are nowadays. Let's get into the game. We got 2 of them. They're big, they're crucial, and a Super Bowl trip is on the line. Let us begin. The first game we're going to look at is the first game we'll all be witnessing. When the Los Angeles Rams head to New Orleans, where the Saints are 3-point favorites at home, and the total of the game is set at 56.5. I am taking these at Friday evening, well, I guess you can call it Saturday morning, either who. It's 1:02 a.m. as of me reading off the computer screen. So, go me for never sleeping. But hey, that's just how life be. That's just how life be. And I get the weekend off, so I can stipulate that I want to. But anywho, okay, so since these are our only 2 teams, we'll go into a little more in depth about them, because especially since last week I was hurried. We'll go into depth. Los Angeles, they finished the season with a 13-3 record, I believe. Posting one of the most high-powered flying offenses with one of the best running backs in the game. A quarterback who has evolved from a first-year question mark, second-year improving to a third-year, who at points in this season looks like he could sneak some MVP votings. Over the last couple of weeks, though, ending the regular season, it did look like he struggled a little bit, having one of the worst stretch-up performances. 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions in a 3-game stretch? I mean, it's not perfect, but, you know, to say that every quarterback will have a bad game is up and down. But you remember, one of those games was against the Chicago defense, who was one of the best in the NFL. And then a Philadelphia team who was desperate to win out, and I don't remember the other one, but you get the idea. Minnesota, I think it was. Yeah. No, he played Minnesota. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, nonetheless, now they built this way up. They got their first playoff win in God knows how long against the Dallas Cowboys team, who people were fringy on, but weren't totally on the bandwagon. But then again, a lot of people were that way for the Bears, and it didn't work out for them. As for the Saints, they also finished with a 13-3 record, losing to the same exact three opponents they lost to on their last 13-3 trip in 2009 when they won their Super Bowl. But now they get the luxury of home field advantage, beating a Philadelphia team showing some rust, but simply doing enough what they could to overcome the odds. They've had a very interesting season, opening up the gates with Ryan Fitzpatrick dropping 400 plus yards and 5 total touchdowns. Ryan Fitzpatrick will sneak up on a lot of people. He's a good short-term quarterback, and by short-term I mean less than a year, for the most part. Hey, Fitzmagic. They call it Fitzmagic for a reason, because sometimes what he does is just magic, and sometimes what he does is like, why? I mean, he's the GOAT journeyman, if that's a thing. Oh well. But after that, they went on a streak of, 8, 9, 10 games in a row they won, before losing to Dallas, in Dallas on a short week, although it wasn't really a short week. And then ending the season, resting all their starters and losing to Carolina, who were also playing backups. Give or take. So, now they sit here, home field advantage, against the Rams team, who last time these two teams met, which was week 9 in the regular season, the Rams were 8-0, heading to New Orleans, and New Orleans, in a game that had many interesting takes. The game was evenly matched, I think, for the fourth quarter, and then New Orleans had a big jump, which brought them up to 35-14. Their line gets a field goal to make it 35-17 at the half. Rams stormed back, tied the game, and then New Orleans essentially puts a dagger into the Rams game with a Michael Thomas long touchdown pass. And then a Joe Horn, I think so, recreation of his celebration. Very uncharacteristic of Michael Thomas, but hey, when you're the best, you gotta prove you're the best. And I don't know why that proves you're the best, but hey, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. In a game that decides who will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, both these teams each represent one trophy, so they've had their fair share in the past. But going based on my eyeball test, at this rate, it is the Saints to lose. The Rams definitely looked better against Dallas than the Saints did against Philadelphia, but one could argue about Philadelphia or Dallas. And yes, Dallas swept Philadelphia in their matchups, but Dallas also played Carson Wentz in both those times, while other teams got to play Nick Foles, a team that beat the Los Angeles Rams in their stadium. And yes, New Orleans squeaked by them, but they didn't lose to them at home. Not that that's a deciding factor, but overall I think that paints a bigger picture. And because of home field advantage, I think it matters. And to a Rams team who, like last season, were plagued with inexperience. And I think with all the money on the line, I trust Drew Brees a lot more than Jared Goff. So, I'm going to go with the Saints in this one. I think the Saints make it out of the NFC and will represent the NFC for the Super Bowl title in an attempt to go for their second. The -3 spread, I'm usually questionable. I know this opened up at like 3.5 at one point, and I would say that hook does scare me. But considering most of these playoff games have been essentially 4-point wins or more, I think there was only one game that was less, and even then that should have been a 3, but the kicker got hurt, so they ended up going for 2, and it was a 2-point spread. No, there was a 1-point spread too with the Philly and Chicago, but that's because of a missed field goal. And then again, that would have been a 2. I don't know what I'm saying here. Point is, especially with these teams, the games does not seem close, and with a -3 spread, I think you get away with it. So take New Orleans straight up, minus the 3. And with the 56 total, I'm not expecting another 45 to 35 game. But with now these offenses having a week under the belt to get warmed up again, to remember, oh hey, this is how we play football, yada yada, whatever. I think they try out, they go, and both offense shows up. I think with the Rams' key factor is losing Cooper Kupp, but Todd Gurley will have a better game because the Saints have lost Sheldon Rankins for the year. Really good D-tackle in the run game. So, but in the end, I still highly believe this turns into somewhat of a shootout. I don't want to give a score because I think both teams could drop 30 easily. So, definitely take the over on the 56.5. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know, I went 0-4 last week, so whatever. So, yep, Saints going to the Super Bowl. And now for the AFC game, which takes place 3:40 my time, 6:40 for those on the East Coast, is when the Kansas City Chiefs host the New England Patriots, where the Chiefs are 3-point favorites at home, and a total that is a hook less than the NFC, with 56 even. Now, both these teams in New England had a New England-esque type season. They had a slow start. What was that? They were 2-2 at the first 4 games, which they've been essentially almost every year. 2-2 or 3-1 or 1-3. I don't think they've been 1-3 recently, but essentially they've had a slow start. They always start slow every year. And then they have that one game that they lose for God knows what reason. They're a better team, but you just lose a game or two that you don't expect. Brady's age is important because it has shown that he has not had a Brady-esque season. He hasn't had a bad season. He's just not the numbers we usually expect from Brady. Or in a sense, he hasn't been using the Max Kellerman debate, which I know a lot of people are so up and down about Max Kellerman. He hasn't been MVP level. And maybe that's just because his counterpart in this game just dropped 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in his first full season as a starter. So, New England, undefeated at home, but a struggling 3-5 on the road. And now, with all the money on the line, have to go into Arrowhead, where they'll face Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, who in most people's eyes has locked up the MVP, had a miraculous season, uncomparable to very few. Most, I don't know how I worded that, but in a sense of he did a lot of things that you don't normally expect out of you can't call him a rookie, because he's not a rookie, but a essentially first-year starter. Thinking the first one who in a first full season actually had a 5,000 touchdown. He's the third quarterback to ever have 50 touchdowns, only to Brady and Manning. And he's the 8th or 9th quarterback now, because Big Ben also dropped 5,000 this season. So, more 5,000-yard seasons. But he's done stuff no one's ever done, or very few have ever done. And now he's done what Alex Smith couldn't do for forever, and win a home playoff game against a good team. Keep in mind, Alex Smith did win a playoff game with the Chiefs, but that's because they went into Houston, where they were playing a 4th-string quarterback at the time, 2015 season. So, do you really give him credit? Alex Smith is 2-5 in the playoffs. I don't know if you people know this, but Alex Smith is 2-5 as a playoff quarterback, and yet people still think he's good. I don't know. Then again, Tony Romo was 2-4, so hey, however you want to rank it however you want. But oh well. So with the game being in Arrowhead, I don't think people have again. I want to bring this up because I think this is the key factor in this game. The Pats are 3-5 this season alone on the road, losing to teams like the Jags, the Titans, Pittsburgh. They never lose in Pittsburgh. They never lose to the Steelers, period. And they lost them this year. Gives me cause to pause. And I know there was a lot of weather inclinations, but from my last checking, the weather is supposed to be decent. It's going to be below freezing, but still decent. And this game, it's definitely not going to be their 43-40 match they had in New England. But from my looking into it, New England is a bad road team. And They have a smart defense, but again, this is an old team that plays to their advantage and knows what they're doing. You gotta remember, in that game against the Chargers for the Patriots, Sony Michel did pretty much most of the running, and the other running back, James White, had 15 catches. 15 catches. Brady only threw the ball like 40 times, and I think he completed 30 of them. But half of those, or a little under half, were to the running back. He's a little yeet. I mean, most people can do that. I mean, probably not, but you get the idea. But overall, and also another key factor in the Patriots, we give them credit for being one of the best dynasties in NFL history, and in sports history in general. But they've never done a three-peat in Super Bowls. Not once have they gone to 3 straight. And I think that's a key factor. And now, especially with Brady and his relatively old age, that hurts him. So I think, and because of Patrick Mahomes being this out-of-the-world quarterback that he is, I'm taking the Chiefs to win this game. And with a 3-point spread, I very well think you can get away with it. Because, as this is also pointed out to me, early in the game with the Chiefs-Patriots game, Patrick Mahomes missed a lot of easy throws. He's also relatively young at the time, but he missed some easy throws. Now, with a little more veteran leadership, smart idea, and the game being at home, in front of the crowd, that'll benefit him. I think the Chiefs get this win. I have faith in Mahomes. -3 spread, you get away with it, I think. And because it's going to be cold, I don't expect like a light show. But I expect enough of a game that it could be interesting. It'll definitely be fun to watch. Because Patrick Mahomes is a fun player to watch. I'll admit that. He's very entertaining to watch. So, give it that spread. I'm looking kind of like maybe like a 28-20 kind of game. If you want my, I don't think both teams will drop 30 if that's what you're asking, especially since it's in the cold. Or if they do, it'll be like 31 or 34. I don't see a 34-31-esque game, but like I think 28, like 28-24 or 28-20. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So take the Chiefs straight up, take them against the spread, and take under the 56. One more time to recap. Saints straight up against the spread in over 56.5. Chiefs straight up against the spread in under the 56. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I have the Saints and the Chiefs playing in Super Bowl 53 down in Atlanta. Oi. Let's hope I'm right. Let's hope I'm right. Thank you all for watching. Enjoy the next minute or two of me falling on the ground like an idiot just so I can make this intro. And enjoy the new outro with also a Hello and a Dead song made by your lovely Burate Buro. Thank you all for watching. See you for the Super Bowl.